Suzanne's Paparazzi Jewelry, 24/7 shopping available. 160920 is the code. Show her some love, like she showed us.
Hello and welcome to another edition of On Deck, brought to you by Coast to Coast Entertainment Network. I'm the host, Big B, brought to you by two of my three counterparts there. Below us, Big Dog Greg shows up just at the nick of time. What's up, Greg?
Oh man, just winding down the school year, buddy, and the weather's starting to pick up, and yeah, it's an exciting time. I'm looking forward to it.
Yep, exactly. And then the working man, Crispy Bacon, how you doing?
Doing good. The season's been pretty interesting. I'm sure we're gonna get into that here in a little bit.
Yeah, nothing. I don't know. Nothing's really stuck out to me except for Mr. Arise. Seemed to can't get an out. It seems like still batting 350, 340, somewhere around there. So, but Big Dog, how's your Cardinals looking?
Well, let's see. Over the last 10 games, we're 3-7. We're 10 games below 500, 27-37. We're just not finding. I don't know. We're just not finding what we need for success. We got the bats, but the pitching's off. But when the pitching is somewhat decent, the bats aren't showing up. So, yeah, we're just not putting it together. It's just one of those things. You think that with the lineup with Goldschmidt and Arenado in there, we'd be putting up some big time numbers, but we just can't seem to get it done.
Yep, no, I hear you. Because that's my same comment with Minnesota. We get good pitching, no sticks. We get good sticks, we get no pitching or those timely hits. And Minnesota's now getting the injury bug. Buxton and Polanco back on the IR. Called up some decent guys for the minor leagues that are getting shots. So, and we're still hanging around there. We're a game and a half up on the Guardians. Playing 500 ball. We'll see what they do. So, Chris, I think you got the only winning team around. Well, except for Tim's Brewers. Tim is at a concert, I think. Some show he's been waiting for. So, his Brewers are 34-30. So, in a virtual tie with the Pirates, who would have thought that? So, but Chris, your Rangers, what's up?
Yeah, they're doing pretty good, despite I guess one injury bug, but they're doing pretty good. They've haven't struggled too much. Knock on wood, that continues. I think good management, good coaching, and then just finding the right players. They don't really change the lineup too much. They kind of keep it the same. And I think that helps a lot too.
Okay. No, yeah, exactly. I saw the DeGrom injury. I know we talked about it the last couple of years that, yes, he stays healthy. He's legit, but I think his days are numbered now. I think we're either talking bullpen or we're going to talk early retirement here. Greg, what do you think about DeGrom?
Man, I think that the Rangers really invested a ton of money into him. It's really sad to see because with the Mets, a couple of years ago when the Mets were really bad, he was the only thing going on for them. He was good for about 7 innings. at least 10 to 12 strikeouts on most nights, and he won the Cy Young Award. Even with not a great record, but his ERA, his strikeouts, and everything kind of propelled him to some really good Cy Young years. And now that he's injury prone and he's just kind of getting these really bad injuries, I don't know if he's on the verge of early retirement, but it's not looking good. Right now, it's kind of looking like a pretty questionable investment on the Rangers' part, because you got a guy that, when he's out there, he's a bulldog. He goes out there, he gets a lot of strikeouts, he eats up a lot of innings, but it just seems like every other start he's in. So I don't know. I'm a little nervous for the Rangers, because they really put a lot of money into him.
Yeah, but that contract probably got a nice insurance policy for the Rangers, so they probably won't be out too much money.
I hope
Chris?
not.
Your Rangers, DeGrom.
Yeah, I mean, good hire when it happened. We all knew
Mhm.
though that it was, going to be a similar story, most likely to last year, the last few years. I don't think he will retire. I think he loves the game too much. Maybe you put him in another spot, like you could put him at DH, or you could just put him in the bullpen.
Yeah, I kind of hope that they could kind of talk him into doing a John Smoltz and going to the bullpen for a strong 8th, 9th inning guy. Maybe an occasional start here or there, but yeah. But he's gone, Tommy John, all year, right? He won't be back until next year.
Yeah, maybe not until 2 years. They're saying like he won't play at all next year.
That might not be a bad idea. I mean, just don't rush him back. And that's one thing I was worried about with the Twins with Royce Lewis, got called up and and then they started playing him at third, which I think he played like a game or two in the AAA. He's a shortstop, and it's just like, let him play down at AAA for a little bit at third base, but called him up right away, and he hasn't looked bad, but he hasn't looked the greatest either. So
right.
I see the Mets also, well, not that the Mets also, but Mets had to put Alonso, the polar bear, on a 3 to 4 week wrist injury on IR. So, Greg, what's that do with the Mets there?
Well, I don't know. It kind of puts Dirk in a tough spot. The Mets this year have already been kind of an up and down team. They're a team that they haven't been scoring a ton of runs. They've been on the other side of some really bad, 1 run, 2 run games. So they're a team that isn't, from day one, they haven't been lighting the league on fire. Even with the pickup of Verlander to go with Scherzer, and then they've had the injuries with Verlander, and so they've just kind of been patching things together. And they're a team that's trying to find their way, but they just seem like a team that can't get over the hump, and so it's just kind of another small setback. Buck Showalter is really going to have to do a lot of great management this year. He's going to have to really find something that's going to work and click, because it seems like every week there's always somebody going down or somebody getting hurt, or there's always a starter scratch from the lineup last second. So it's just been an interesting year, especially for a team that's dumped that much money into their payroll. They've been pretty inconsistent. So it's just kind of another setback, but hopefully they'll find their way.
Yep. Chris, what'd you think of big polar bear getting on the IR there? What's that going to do for the Mets?
I'm sure it's going to change a lot. I haven't been watching too much Mets, but it's probably going to change a lot. You don't want to see anybody go down with an injury, no matter how big or small it is. But I think they'll find a way to work around it, maybe.
Yeah, I mean, and it's tough with the team. I mean, yeah, you're sitting 9.5 out. All-Star break coming up. Trade deadline's approaching. they're probably one of those many teams that are going to be, are we seller, are we buyers, which we'll get to in a little bit here. But looking at the divisions, Tampa's still on top. Boston or Baltimore, New York, Toronto, Boston right behind them. The sad thing is all those teams could be leading in every division except for the West. I think it would be. The Twins are at 500 at 32-32. Cleveland's behind them. White Sox, Detroit, and the Royals. Chris, it's not looking good for your American League World Series contender there.
No, it's not.
The West, you got the Rangers, Houston, Anaheim, who's been turning up, and we'll talk about them because they're another team that's going to be, are they going to be buyers or sellers? Seattle, and then soon to be Las Vegas A's. They're holding on. They got 15 wins. That's 4 more than I thought they had right now. But they're on a little 3-game winning streak. Good for them. Must be playing the Royals. And then we go to the National League. We got the Braves. We got Miami, Philly, the Mets, and the Nationals. And Chris, your national pick is not doing so hot there.
Yeah, I'm
and we got the Pirates and the Brewers tied. Then we got Cincinnati, Cubs, St. Louis, Arizona leading the West. That's kind of a shocker to me. Dodgers, San Fran, San Diego, and Colorado there. So that's how we stack up stat-wise. Just top of the first, the Diamondbacks and Tigers are playing. So that's good. We got a little bit of baseball here to watch out for. But all right, Greg, we're at trade deadline time. We're about a month and a half away. August 1st is the deadline. What do you think Cardinals are going to do?
I would like to say that we would be buyers. The only thing that makes sense from a buying standpoint is we need arms. We need pitching. We need guys that can come in and get big outs. I don't know what all we could shuffle around to get another bat in the lineup because we do have some pretty good pop. We have
whoa. Prime Lewis is on.
I can barely hear you guys.
Well, yeah, we can see you.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm at Carafonte.
Okay. So we're just talking about your Mets a little bit, how they're going to trade everybody. What's up? What's up with your not Mets, Brewers? I'm sorry.
We just got our first beer, got a water, getting ready to buy some merch, but we're getting ready to have some fun.
All right.
That's D hits the stage at 9. Spilled Beans hits the stage at 8. So we're getting ready to have a bit of fun.
Okay. So what about the Brewers? Trade deadline's coming up. What do you think the Brewers are going to do there, Tim?
What is for the trade deadline?
Yeah, coming up.
I think we're buyers. We have to at least get another bat in. We got maybe another pitcher, but I think we need to really start working on our team to really try to keep a hold of our of our slim lead. I can't remember if we've got a half game or if we're.
No, you're virtually tied with the Pirates right now.
So yeah, we need to really work on something like that.
Okay, all right.
So I figured I'd check in with you guys while I'm at the concert. Concert hasn't started yet, so.
All right. Well, we don't want you to get in trouble with the missus there, so enjoy the show. So.
that misses.
All right.
All right, guys.
Yep. Check you later.
All right.
All right. So, Chris, your Rangers, they got to be buyers at this point, right?
At least on pitching. I mean, a lot of the pitchers have been doing well, but it couldn't hurt, to have maybe one more just to replace DeGrom.
Yep.
I don't know who you would get though.
And the Twins, I mean, they're sitting in the same boat. All three of our teams, I think, could use some pitching. Another bat would be okay. I just don't know what the Twins could offer. I know Kepler's up there. People are talking about trading him, but I don't see we could get that, even a B-level pitcher for Max Kepler. I don't think we can get that. So I don't know what they're going to do. I mean, yeah, there'll be buyers. But
Yeah, I wanted to say
what level?
I wanted to say that my Cardinals need to be buyers. Just for the fact that right now they're 10 games below 500, and but they're still not out of it, especially in that division, because that division, it's not like the Brewers are absolutely pulling away from anybody, and you got a lot of scrappy teams. The Pirates are playing decent. The Reds are actually playing competitive ball.
Yep.
So even though we're 10 games under 500, it wouldn't take much. Get a few new arms, maybe another decent bat or player or something, and we might be back in it. Every week, every 10 games or so, if you can go 7-3 for a couple weeks or something, you got a shot, especially in that division, because I don't see the Brewers really just stepping on it.
Yeah. No, that's the thing. 7-3, 5-5 before a week, 6-4. If you can stay around there, I mean, you're going to climb that ladder pretty quickly. I know we joke about Oakland, but looking at the stats right now for Oakland, I don't see them making headways. I mean, possibly maybe Rooker might get traded for a bat, but I know they're pitching. They ain't got nobody. I would doubt that anybody would go after some of their pitching unless
they got Kemp and Laureano that they could maybe get some prospects or something for. But and honestly, for as good as well as those guys have played for the last 2 seasons, they really should do something because the A's just seem kind of content if they win like 40 games, I think they'd be happy. I mean, 3,000 fans in the stands every home game, that's ridiculous. So if you're gonna do something like that, you might as well get rid of any valuable chip you have and just cash it out.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, anything you can do to move on. I mean, granted, right now you're looking at probably, 4 or 5 teams that are absolute buyers. You got about 3 or 4 teams that are going to be absolute sellers, and everybody in the mix is, depending on where they're sitting at, they're, going to have that tough decision to make. Because, I mean, we know Tampa Bay ain't going nowhere. I mean, we all are waiting for that collapse, but, they're sitting 6.5 up. I don't see them going anywhere. And if they buy, I mean, they get more bats and pitching, they're going to walk away with it. So, so a big debate here locally is everybody still talks about the Arise trade to Miami for Lopez. Guys, you guys looking in, Greg, what do you think? Do you think the Twins made the right move, wrong move? Still determined? I mean, what do you think?
When I look at that move, I look at it as I think that the Marlins maybe got the better of the deal right now from a player standpoint, especially how well he's hitting the ball at his average and everything. But then when I look at Lopez, there's been some times where he's just been absolutely brilliant.
Yep.
2-3 hit ball, 1-run games,
Yep.
5-6 shutout innings. He's displaying greatness. It's just that he's not an everyday player. Lopez is a pitcher, but anytime you have a pitcher for a position player kind of trade, you don't know what the payoff's going to be. But I think that the Twins, they needed an arm, and they could have done a lot worse than Lopez. I think that Lopez is going to be a pretty good stable in their lineup and their pitching rotation for years to come. So I think that the move benefits maybe the Marlins a little bit better, because he's out there every day and he's smashing the ball and he's not striking out a lot and he's putting the ball into play. But I think that for the Twins, I think that they're going to see great benefits because he's going to go out there and give them a lot of quality starts. I've only seen like one start maybe that he was really off this season. So he's actually putting it together and he's pitching pretty well. So I think it's going to be a pretty balanced trade. I'd say I'd give the edge to Miami. I don't think that the Twins got anything bad in return, though.
Okay. Chris, what about you? What do you think about the Arise Lopez trade?
I mean, it sounds like it's a big hot topic, but you have to do whatever's best for your team. And if that was the best move for the team, then it was. And, in any sport, when something like that happens, fans will be like, why did that happen? He doesn't deserve to be moved, whatever. But it's just what's best interest for the team.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. And like I told people, it would be a hard trade for me to make, but if you're looking, I mean, we don't see all the scouting reports that the Twins got to look at, and and like Greg kind of said, down the future he'll probably be the guy. I mean, but you never know. But looking at his 13 starts, he's 3-3. The team itself is 7-6, I believe. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, 7-6. He's had a couple rough outings where he's given up, 5+ runs. It looks like 1, 2, 3, 4 of the starts. He's done, but he's also out of 13 starts, he's given them 7 quality starts, like Greg talked about. He's striking out. I think, yeah, he's got one game where he struck out less than 5. So it might balance out, but yeah, you give a slight advantage to the Marlins. I probably still would have made the trade. Hindsight looking, into it. Right now we need them because if we don't have them, we're probably sitting second or third, I think. So, Chris, pull up that little slide I sent you.
Okay.
A couple weeks ago, there was a post on Facebook, and right there, yep, and we can't see Greg, but that's okay.
It's
So
pulling up.
somebody posted this. Well, Greg Johnson posted this on Facebook, and it's stuff like this. I mean, give your opinion. I get that, but officially, he posted this as the most overrated lineup in baseball all time. The only one I will agree with is Carlo Pavano on there. Everybody else, I'd like to know what this guy was having to drink, let's just say.
Yeah.
So, Chris, I know you're kind of new to baseball, but Greg, what's your opinion on this most overrated lineup?
When I look at this lineup, I see a few overrated players.
Okay.
As far as I don't know if he's talking about overrated lineup or if he's talking about Hall of Famers or Hall of Fame contention. But
if you're talking Hall of Fame, Carlo Pavano shouldn't be on there at all because he's nowhere near Hall of Fame.
Yeah. Bill Mazeroski, he was a great defensive player. I think that he kind of coasted into the Hall of Fame mainly because of the shot, the home run in the World Series many, many years ago. And, but Bill Mazeroski also, I think still leads the major leagues and still has the record for most putouts at second base. So he was a tremendous defensive player, but I do think that he was pretty hyped up after that big home run in the World Series. Mike Piazza, I think that he was a really good player, but I think that he was a player that was maybe overhyped a little bit as well. I think that his arm wasn't quite as strong as some catchers. He was a great hitting catcher, but I think that most of these players deserve to be where they're at. Carl Pavano, I don't understand. The only thing I think that he did that was kind of famous was he dated Alyssa Milano or something at some point.
That might be the overrated part. I don't know, but
yeah, I don't see too many players that don't belong on this list. So Carl Pavano, I really don't know what the deal was. I know that he signed a big contract about 20 years ago and it didn't live up to it.
Yeah.
like he should have. But other than that, I think that everybody's pretty decent. Um,
Well, I mean, you look at the list, you got two of the top 5 hitters of all time in Tony Gwynn and Pete Rose. I mean, I don't get why they're on there. Otani definitely, I think, will be in the Hall of Fame for what he's done for baseball, especially if we get more of these two-way players coming up.
Kanye, I don't really think that he was overhyped. I think that he was a guy that I don't know if he necessarily hit his peak because he was a tremendous closer for about 3 to 4 years, and then his just kind of wore out. So
I was going to say that Gagne, Smith, and Rivera, at their time was, they came in and it was over. I mean, especially for Rivera for the longest time.
Yeah.
Gagne
just had a few issues with arm and stuff that kind of slowed him down. Other than that, he was on fire for a good 3 to 4 years.
And Nolan Ryan, I mean, you got the 7 no-hitters, you have countless one-hit games. I don't get where he puts there. Sutton, I don't recall much of him, but I mean, Palmer, I mean, from the stories I've seen in stats, I mean, they were legit. On the batting side, I mean, Piazza, I mean, I get what you're saying with the maybe he was overhyped, too much hype, but Jeter, I mean, cornerstone at shortstop. I Brooks Robinson, Ichiro. I mean, he did what he did over in Japan. Came over here, brought it, did it again. Carl Surzemski, same way. So I don't know. Thought I'd bring it up, get some good talk here.
In my opinion,
I think we all agree that Pabano should not be on that list.
In my opinion, Don Sutton was one of the most overlooked pitchers of all time. When you look at his numbers, he made it to the Hall of Fame. He had about 330 wins. Really good broadcaster for Turner Sports for years. But he's one of those guys. I don't really remember him having tremendous popularity. He just went out and did his job. So, I mean, he get recognized into the Hall of Fame, and he had a great career after baseball. But I really don't. I don't really remember hearing a whole lot of hype on Sutton ever.
Yeah. And that's the thing is, Chris, I sent you another one I want you to put up in a minute here.
Okay.
I mean, even Nolan Ryan never won a Cy Young. I mean, for that, I would think he would be overlooked. So before we get to the slide I sent Chris, Greg, Chris, I got you to give your opinion. I know, Chris, you don't know these two records that well, but me and Greg do. And our man J-Mac posted this in our chat. Hardest record to break. He's got 2. Okay. Nolan Ryan's 5,714 strikeouts or Ricky Hendricks' stolen bases at 1,406. Greg, which one's going to be the harder record to break? If either.
I would say the strikeout record is going to be harder to break, mainly because now with the bases being about 2 inches wider, and it's like every single's turning into a double now, and the stolen base attempts and stuff are going way up. I think they're up about 30-40% from where they were in the past. And baseball's getting a little bit more exciting with more attempted stolen bases. But I think that the strikeout thing is going to be harder to break because Nolan Ryan got a lot of strikeouts every year, but he also pitched for over 20 years, And I don't see a lot of pitchers with this kind of longevity. And Nolan Ryan also stayed in the game and pitched 130, 150 pitches a game. Now these guys are getting pulled after 100 pitches, 110 pitches. So I don't see a whole lot of pitchers going deep in the game. And I think that if they're only going to be out there for 5 or 6 innings, I don't see a lot of like 10K plus nights,
Yep. No, just looking at the not Wikipedia, what is this? Baseball reference page, just to see who was close. You got Matt Scherzer with 3,251. He's 12th all time. Verlander right behind him, 20 strikeouts back. You got Cranky at 20th. You got Kershaw at 21. Cole Hamels at 33. And then after that, Adam Wainwright, which we know his career is, I think this was his last year, so he's not going to get close. Chris Sale, he's about 3,000 back, but he's sitting at 72. Yeah, there ain't nobody. You Darvish, I mean, he's 11 years in, but he's sitting at 109, just under 2,000 strikeouts. So, yeah, I don't see that now. And we know this year, I mean, unless you're a rookie stealing bases, I don't think we're going to see, preferably either one, but I think the strikeout one's going to be the hardest one to break because we're getting back into those stolen bases. So I can see the stolen base one getting broke. Chris, how about you? What do you think?
Yeah, I was kind of on the same boat about the stolen or the strikeouts. I mean, they moved the bases or they made the bases bigger, but and you're seeing a lot more stolen bases. I don't think we're going to get to that record of stolen bases. Maybe close in a few years. I'm not sure.
Yeah,
but
it's
like
gonna,
strikeouts.
yeah, it's going to take somebody that's a rookie, I think, to get back on that pace. Because I mean, Henderson is what 300 ahead of the second place person. I mean, Lou Brock at 938, Henderson at 1406. So I'm just looking to see if there's any current players on there, which I doubt it. Okay, we got Elvis at 340 at 120 122nd is Sterling Marte at 120, ranking 129 with 231. So those are the only two active guys anywhere close. So yeah. So all right, Chris. Greg, before you pull it up, Greg, what were you doing at the age of 16? Can you remember?
At the age of 16, I was just like a sophomore in high school, playing basketball, football, baseball, having a great time with my friends. Yeah, not doing a whole lot other than school and hanging out with the friends and playing some sports and stuff. So
yep. Well, Chris, go ahead and pull it up. At the age of 16, this was a few weeks ago. The Padres promoted young Ethan Salas to become the first born 2006 born player in the minor leagues, and he made his debut that night that he got called up to Single A. So 16 years old, this guy is suiting up for a major league club in the minor leagues. If he doesn't have women knocking down his door for prom, I don't know what else you could do, but props to this kid. Yeah, this might be the future. This might be definitely if he keeps moving. I mean, 16 already in Single A. Typically, you play a year or two in Single A, Double A. So we could see this kid at the age of 20. Would you say, Greg, in the majors if he keeps producing?
Oh, sorry. What was the question?
So we could see this Salas kid probably age 20 in the majors if he keeps producing the way he does.
Yeah, 19 or 20. I think that if he keeps producing, he'll be right up there with like a King Griffey Jr. or Alex Rodriguez as far as entering the league.
Yep, I know. Our man Cal is probably happy. You got some future there. So, Chris, you're not too far from 16. What were you doing at the age of 16?
Pretty much the same thing. So, like Greg was saying, but without the sports.
Yeah,
but
I'm with you. I was sitting in school too, and get ready for baseball season. Just had the dream, and this kid's 16 in minors already. So yeah,
baseball is baseball. Even though you're in the minors, you're still playing baseball at a high level.
Yep, exactly. Probably doing some homeschooling, but yeah, this kid got the life. I really hope he gets up there because definitely be watching for him. Just looking top of second, Diamondbacks 2-0 over the Tigers.
Actually,
let's see how we scored there. Ahmad homered to left center, score 2-run shot. So, all right. Anybody got anything else to cover? Got a topic you want to bring up, Greg, or something?
No, I don't have a topic. I think we covered a lot of it. Other than maybe maybe talk about a few other teams that might be buying or selling or something.
Yeah, I mean, throw a team out there. Let's look at the standings here.
Well,
I wanted to, now that you brought it up, Anaheim Angels. I know we at the beginning of the year thought they could be selling. They sit right in the mix. Greg, what do you think Anaheim's going to do?
Well, here's a biggie for them because you got Ohtani, who I think is going to be a free agent after the season, and you got Trout, who signed a long-term deal, and I think he's got about 7 years left or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
But you also have Trout, who's been arguably one of the best players, if not the best player in baseball for the past 5-6 seasons. So you've got a guy like Trout that's picking up all kinds of personal trophies for how well he's played and everything, MVP awards, just about everything except a Golden Glove. So his trophy case is getting pretty big, but he doesn't have a World Series ring. He doesn't have a pennant. He doesn't have all that. So I think that the Angels, for the sake of trying to at least keep one of those two around for a while, you've got to make a few more moves by the trade deadline and be a buyer and show that you're interested in trying to achieve some kind of success, because that's one thing about Trout is he's been picking up tons of numbers for the last 10 seasons or so, but he just hasn't seen any success, any postseason success, any postseason at all. So maybe 1 year in the postseason. So I think that they need to be buyers and show that they're going to make an attempt to be somebody this year.
But doesn't he have a World Series or World Baseball Classic?
Well, yeah, him and Ohtani faced off. I think Trout
They
does
lost.
have a world, but I think 1 year, I think U.S. won it. I could be wrong.
I thought Japan won this past.
Well, they won it this year, yeah. Ohtani struck out Trout to end the game.
Right, that's one.
I was looking to see if I could find Ohtani's contract stats. Oh, he's a free agent after next year. Oh, yeah, you're right. At the end of this year, so 2024, he'll be a free agent. Trout will have about 6 years left on that deal. Chris, what do you think? What do you think the Angels should do?
I think it's kind of hard. I think you try to find a way to bring him back.
But like Greg said, it's going to take them going out right now and making moves to show Ohtani at least, because they got Trout under contract for a few years. But it's going to take them to go out and get some bats, go get some pitching. But again, I don't know what the minor league system looks for them and how well they got. So yeah, they're going to be one of those teams I think are definitely going to be a tough sell for. And then you got the East. I guess we could talk about all four teams: Baltimore, Yankees, Toronto, Boston, because I think we all for sure the Rays are going to be buyers. So those other four teams, Greg, what do you do? I mean, do you wait to see what Tampa does, or do you try to get ahead of them? Any rumors you hear about Tampa, you try to snipe their players. What do you think?
Well, I think that Tampa right now is definitely the odds-on favorite to come out of that division.
Yep.
But I think that you just can't wait and see what they're going to do. I think that you need to go out and make some moves and see what's out there and everything, especially with the Orioles. You know, they got a young team. They pound the ball. They got decent young pitching. They do give up some hard hits quite a bit, but I think that if they can go out and find a really good arm, they can get some good strikeouts and pick up some good innings. Even if it's like middle relief or something, because that seems to be kind of their Achilles heel right now. Is sometimes their pitching depth, or sometimes a few of their starters get get rocked quite a bit every now and then. So they have a couple really stable pitchers, but then they have some guys that are off quite a bit. So I think that another decent arm for the Orioles. I think that for the Yankees have plenty of talent. It's just a matter of keeping them in the lineup. They're injured all the time. That's their main thing. So I don't know what else they could go out and get, because on paper they have, in my opinion, the most talented roster in the game. But they never play together. They're kind of like the Brooklyn Nets of baseball. They can't put anything together. They can't keep people in the same lineup at the same time.
Yep.
Sometimes and Judge gets walked quite a bit because they don't have the best around them when these guys are injured or not playing. So,
but isn't Judge injured right now?
He's dealing with something, but I think he's been in the lineup. No, Greg, I agree with you. I think Baltimore Yankees, especially the Yankees, I don't think have much they can move. I mean, they got the lineup there, so their spark plug, and there's been talks because of how they're struggling. Fire Boone. So,
and the Blue Jays
spark plug there.
And the Blue Jays, they just need more consistency, because Gossman will be on fire one night and then he'll give up about 6 runs one night. Berrios, he pitches well, on the road and doesn't at home, or vice versa. He's all over the place. So you never know what you're going to get. You never knew what you were going to get with Berrios anyways, you know. He's been lights out a couple of games, but then he's also been the same old Berrios. So, there's
Berrios' problems. He gets into his own head when he gives up a walk and a hit in the same inning back to back. That's where you get him. So, and
then it turns into like a 4 or 5 run inning. Some of these games. So,
no, I agree. I think Boston might be the team that you're looking at possibly selling, unless they can cut that deficit in half here in the next few weeks. But Toronto, they got some nice young talent there. I hate to see them start selling that off. We already talked about them.
Boston could be, they have some decent older pitching with Sale and Lynch in the lineup. But it's just like Sale and Lynch just aren't the same Sale and Lynch that they used to be.
Yeah, and that's where you could probably get them on the cheap end and get that contract. You might have to eat a lot of that contract, but it might be a rent-a-player, type deal. Pittsburgh's in probably a unique position for who knows how long. I mean, they're definitely going to be buyers. I mean, Tim's Brewers are going to be buyers. That they might try to outdo each other. So. How about San Diego? I mean, we just talked about the young kid. They've gone out and kind of spent like Chris's Rangers, but they're sitting 8 back. I mean, is it time to blow this up, or what are we going to do there? What do you think, Greg?
I don't think it's time to blow it up, because I mean, you put your big 3 in there with Machado, Tatis, and Soto, but you traded the world also to get Soto. And I think right now the Padres would give anything to have held on to Mackenzie Gore, because he's starting to show why he was a top prospect. But I think that, the one thing going on for the Padres is they can always count on Yu Darvish to get, 6, 7, 8 strikeouts per night. He always gives them a pretty decent performance. They've invested a lot of money. I don't know exactly what they can do, because they have tremendous hitting up and down their lineup. They have Grissom, they have Tatis, Machado, Soto. They have guys that can just absolutely crush the ball, but they just seem to be very inconsistent at times. But I don't know how much of a buyer they can be, because they're already, the sky's the limit, on their payroll. So I don't know what else they have to move, because they gave up a tremendous amount of their farm system and their top prospects to the Nationals to get one player.
Yeah, that's tough when you sell the farm like that for one, and you're not I mean, he's producing, but the team's not coming around. So I was just looking at the stats here, games. I kind of want to see who the A's have been beaten in the last 3 games. So they took 1 from the Pirates, 11-2, and then they took they took 2 from the Pirates. And first game 11-2, and then 9-5, and then they took the opening series against the Brewers at 5-2 or 5-2. So A's have beaten a couple good teams last couple of nights. So, all right. So with that being said, let's go around final thoughts. Greg, we'll start with you. Your final thoughts.
Well, final thoughts is I just want everybody to stay safe this summer. School's out for a lot of places across the country. We're closing in on the last 2.5, 3 days of the school year, and I just want everybody to just be safe. There's going to be a lot more kids out in the streets, walking around and stuff. So just kind of be on alert when you're out there driving. Be safe. Just realize that the kids are going to be out playing and everything. So and always follow the rules. A lot of buses are going to be out on the road the last few days, and I just want everybody to be safe out there, because the kids are going to be taking advantage of this sunshine, and they're going to be out and about. So
yeah, hopefully they're out there instead of playing video games.
Yeah.
Chris, your final thoughts on what's coming up on you, C2C.
Yeah, I believe tonight we have the final game of the Oregon Cougars season. You're going up against Capital City Pioneers. Good way to close out the season with a win. So let's hope that happens.
Yep, exactly. Oregon Cougars football is wrapping up, so good luck to the ladies there. Catch myself and Tim Hendricks Tuesday, possibly a little late start. I got something going on in the morning. I got to drop my son off somewhere, so we'll probably be shooting about 9:30, 10 o'clock for that show. So with that being said, you can catch myself, Greg, Chris, and Tim back next week on Deck. Have a good night, guys, and see you next week.